Hello, everyone! The long-awaited episode 20 just came out a few hours ago, and oh boy, it was filled to the brim with pure action. We're so back to the roots of zombie universe at this point, because today's episode has brought us once again to the horror world, inspired by different games and movies. Monster Up definitely decided to treat us after a long plot arc, with ruthless speakermen and secret agents with one awesomely animated episode, which would be really entertaining and scary as hell at the same time. What I saw in the current episode made me really excited, so today I'm going to break the whole episode down for you. And if you're really ready to figure out what exactly happened to the POV, then put all your business aside for the next 13 minutes and trust me. Today I'm going to analyze the whole 20th episode for you, and then I'll show you all the secrets and Easter eggs that you have certainly missed. Who activated the portal with the infected drillman? Where did the POV get after being hypnotized by this drillman? And how did this whole hypnosis actually work? And the most important thing, what is the secret agent doing now and who is he going to ask for help from? Get your tea and snacks ready and prepare to watch this video to the end because I saved the juiciest part for later, just as always. Let's go! But before I'll start digging into episode 20, let me remind you real quick about the events of the previous episode so you won't get too confused about what has actually been going on. So in episode 19, a fight occurred between the Astro Toilet, the infected zombie Titan Drillman, and the Plungerman POV who's dressed in exosuit from the Speakerman's base. Astro Toilet shot a powerful red beam from his eyes, causing Titan Drillman to stumble backward. Plungerman tried to pass a core to the Astro Toilet but threw it too far, leading to an attack from Titan Drillman on his comrade. The POV then engages in combat with zombie Titan Drillman himself and manages to damage him pretty badly as he sticks explosive plungers into Titan Drillman's body, causing a powerful explosion. The Astro Toilet, who finally gets X-18 core upgrade, then undergoes a transformation, growing giant arms with weapons. The defeated Titan Drillman leaves the battlefield, which, as we later understood, was connected to the appearance of traitorous TVman with red mark. Besides him, other characters also arrive to the scene, including the old friend of Plungerman, who is the bald Skibidi Toilet. The POV then reveals the Titan's true coordinates to the group, but TV-Man points a gun at him, hinting at betrayal. The episode ended with the great suspense, as I suppose that the treacherous TV-Man may be holding a grudge against Plungerman, and also having a fear that he's going to be exposed with the false Titan's coordinates he showed back in episode 13, and Plungerman is actually the only person in the Alliance who's suspecting this TV-Man to be a traitor. Okay, so now when your memory is refreshed and you're all set and ready, episode 20 is already on your screens. And it starts with the scene that ended the previous episode, namely the treacherous TV-Man pointing a gun at the POV accompanied by the thrilling music. But before I'll continue my analysis, don't forget to give this video a like because I appreciate it a lot, and subscribe to my channel, as I really want to achieve my goal in having 100,000 subscribers by the end of this month. Okay, if you subscribe now, let's move on. So, after a few seconds of unnerving waiting, TV-Man actually lowers the gun and gives it to the POV instead. So all that facade was just a gimmick for the audience to hype us up a little bit for the next episode, which is a really smart move. But don't be too quick to consider this TV-Man a friend already. As it turns out later, he just wanted to play it cool between him and the POV in order to make it look like he forgot their past quarrels and all that for only one thing. As the POV gets back the precious X-18 cannon's core, TV-Man reaches out his hand to him immediately and says to the POV, "Give it to me." But of course the POV refuses to do so and shakes his head, and in this moment I could see one really interesting and frightening detail. Pay your attention to the TV-Man's hand, because in the moment when the POV refused to give him X-18 core, it visibly trembled as if TV-Man was in the state of literal fury when he got rejected. And also you could notice how our buddy, the bald toilet, turns his head and takes a quick look at TV-Man as if he starts suspecting that something is not actually right in here. Interestingly enough, TV-Man didn't seem like he intended to persist in his asking, so he just says to the POV the following phrase, "Don't lose it." But then it'll get clear to you guys why this nasty TV-Man gave up so easily on conversation with Plungerman. Because at the moment when the POV opens the shell of the core in order to check out if everything is actually in place there or not, you could notice how TV-Man puts his right hand behind the back and visibly presses something with his fingers. And it really seems to me that he possesses a special control panel similar to the one that Lucky Cameraman from Boom's original series had, and with the usage of this, he was actually the one who opened the portal. Speaking of which, by the way, then we see that exact portal that we already remember from episode 13, and in case you guys forgot, the pale zombie got out of that portal and then infected Titan Drillman with zombie virus. And in the secret scene that we watched just a few days ago, we got the confirmation from Monster Up that it was indeed TVman the traitor who was behind all of this, just as I predicted earlier in my analyses. And in today's episode, we see that he intends to pull the same trick twice, although this time his goal is not the infection of Plungerman and his comrades, but the destruction of them all, so that there would be no witnesses of his vile deeds and his plans of taking the core. And afterwards, we see how the regular Drillman gets pushed out of this portal and he seems not okay at all. One of the cameramen gets him at gunpoint immediately, but Clockman advises him to check the poor guy out first before opening up the fire. As it turned out at the end, though, it was a huge mistake because this Drillman was in fact a secret weapon sent straight from the Plague Doctor's laboratory. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, then let me remind you of that terrifying secret scene where we have been shown the Plague Doctor himself, who injected a new version of virus into the body of this exact Drillman who was captured by this freak to later conduct experiments on him. And in the process of those experiments, this Drillman was later turned into one of the animalistic zombies, and his special ability is being a spider. We can see this by the image on his head where we can see the sign of Black Mamba, which is a spider whose bite causes different heavy hallucinations, and it's the deadliest type of spider. And speaking of hallucinations, check out what happens to this poor cameraman next as he accidentally steps into the paddle of gray mist that came to this world after the Drillman got out of the portal. He loses control over his body, just stands still with his hands dropped and rises up his camera head as it gets enfolded with this black mist, which means that he's in the world of illusions now, or should I say in the world of his own nightmares. And just a second afterwards, his left hand pulls a grenade and pulls the pin, simply exploding himself. That was terrifying to see, but I think I understood how exactly did these hallucinations work. It seems to me that the victim of this hypnosis loses all kind of control over their own body as they start wandering in the bowels of their own mind filled with nightmares that are sent to them with this Drillman's power. And if in the end the victim gets destroyed in their own hallucinations, their body from the real world destructs itself too. And this whole concept really reminded me of the horror movie called Smile. And it looks like the POV is going to be the next victim for these terrifying Drillman's hallucinations in line, as he throws a ball of greasy gray mist into our face as well, and then we can find ourselves in the dark world of nightmarish illusions too. At first, the POV sees the world around him through the lens of foggy black blur, and it felt like he looked at it from somewhere above. And this whole shot reminded me of this cutscene from the final DLC of the game called Dark Souls 3. And then we see how the POV gets transferred to another location with the blick of this eerie red light, so that he finds himself in an empty space of nothing. And then as he turns around, he sees a spooky red door, which is, of course, a reference to the first part of horror movie series called Insidious. And I really would go in there because in the Insidious movie, this door was connecting the real world and the world of bloodthirsty demons. But as Plungerman is no cinema lover, it seems to me, he still reaches out to that door's knob, and then he gets simply pushed back to the long, spooky hallway, which was definitely inspired by this hallway scene from the game called The Evil Within. And in this hallway, we can see the reference to another Insidious movie called The Last Key. And by the way, based on the texture of these walls, it becomes pretty obvious that the whole location is fake and is being sewn out of illusions, but the POV isn't aware of this yet. And on the left side of the corridor, I saw another black and white picture that really made me remember that meme image from the very first episode of Boom's original series. Then, as the POV hears some really suspicious roar, he turns around and we can see multiple references all at once. There's an iconic "Here's Johnny" shot from the movie called The Shining, as well as the pictures that are referring to other James Wan's movies called The Nun and Annabelle. And the demonic version of Drillman himself looks like the monster Laura from The Evil Within once again. As the monster leaps forward and the POV starts running, we see multiple other images. For example, this cursed version of Mona Lisa and this creepily looking dude on the blue background. Then the illusions start consuming the POV completely, and he even sees the dramatic scene where his buddy Bald Toilet is at risk of being thrown into the abyss by this terribly mutated Drillman. And of course, this is an illusion because as we know, the real bald toilet is in his own illusions somewhere else. And this whole scene with the bald toilet was definitely inspired by the movie called Spider-Man: Far From Home, where the main character also fought the antagonist named Mysterio in the world of dark illusions. Drillman finally throws the bald toilet down, and we can see how our buddy doesn't really get destroyed but simply vanishes in the vortex of mist, but the POV is heartbroken anyway. This buddy meant really a lot to him, and this scene only proved it. Then the POV gets into a whole different dimension where he's meant to deal with his own copies now. At first he thinks that the reflection he sees is harmless and reaches out to it, and then he gets jump scared pretty badly. In another shot, he finds himself in the red geometrical dimension filled with dozens of his own copies, and I feel like it's definitely some other reference, but I'm not sure which one. So if you guys have your own ideas about that, then be sure to write it in the comments below. In order to stay alive, the POV starts shooting all around, and luckily for him, one of his bullets reaches out to Drillman in the real world, and hallucinations cut off. The terrible freak tries to throw another ball of hypnosis at the POV, but we dodge it in time. Then we see that our friends, including the bald toilet, are all under hypnosis as well, and someone is missing. Of course, the treacherous TV man is not here. Drillman wants to finish the POV manually this time, but some great force knocks him off his feet. And oh my dear God, this is no other than Astro Emperor himself, who came to aid the POV straight from the last episode of Boom's original series. And I don't know about you guys, but his appearance simply blew me away. And on this epic note, the original episode ends, and a secret scene that was promised to us by Monster Up starts rolling. In this scene, we see that the Knight actually opened up a portal to the multiverse of DOM Stuidio based on this giant clock tower that was a key element of this series for a really long time. The Knight then refers to someone with words. "You don't know me, but I need your help." And by the way, he's being voiced out by the YouTuber called Chasing Skylar once again. And then we see the actual silhouette of the character the secret agent spoke to, and it really had me shooked. It's obviously Titan Clockman, who will soon be in Monster Up Series 2. And I bet we'll see an epic fight between him and the zombie Titan Drillman, or even something more mind-blowing. And by the way, check out his appearance in this shot, because it seems to me that this is an old version of Titan Clockman, and not him being upgraded at the latest episodes of DOM Stuidio's multiverse. Could that mean that we'll see the overlapping of these two universes more closely next time? And I will surely bet that the next episode will start with an incredible action scene. And that was all for today. Write in the comments below about how excited you are to see the next episode in order to find out what will happen to the POV next time. And be sure to subscribe to my channel so you will not miss my new videos. And also to my Discord, where you can contact me directly and get lots of info for my subscribers only. And that was me, ISO Toilet. See ya!